This pocket was so heavy. It is. Is that it? You were showing him to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Got 7 o'clock. The first item of business, I need to ask the board to excuse Brandon McMahon tonight. He's out sick.
No, she's excused.
All in favor? Okay, and the Pledge of Allegiance led by Vice Mayor Patty Abel.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the next item of business is the adoption of the November the 7th Town Board agenda. That would be tonight. Any additions or exclusions? All right, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the budget, the agenda as presented. Second? Second. All right, all in favor? The next item is the approval of the October the 3rd and October the 17th board minutes. Has everybody had a chance to look those over? And so I'll entertain a motion to approve. Second? Okay, all in favor? Okay. No one signed up for the public session, but I do have one comment I'd like to make. We're getting a little concerned about the water situation, the drought, the forest fires and all. And I'm not making this mandatory anything, but we want to speak to the possibility of everybody being very careful with the water they use and making some voluntary water conservation. If you've noticed the creeks, they're all, which ones still have water, are moving very, very slow right now. Madam Manager, did you want to chime in on that just a little bit?
Certainly, Mr. Mayor and Board. I did speak with the ORC director today at the water plant, Mr. Rob Hartzell, and he did want just the board to maybe consider erring on the side of caution given the situation and trying times right now.
I just want to make sure that the media knows that this is not a mandatory water conservation. It's just asking people to be a little prudent with their use of water. Okay. Any of the board want to speak to that? Okay. The next item was the new business. I have a proclamation for the Homes for Heroes Day. I will read that. Whereas, following the tragic events of 9/11/2001, there was a call to action by our government to step up to the plate, and Homes for Heroes is a national program currently helping heroes in 35 states across our country who serve and protect their communities. And whereas heroes are firefighters, EMT, law enforcement officers and officials, educators, medical professionals, and great members of our military who have put their lives on the line to protect, defend, and serve the American people daily. Whereas heroes engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills, and businesses are coming together to become friends of heroes to show appreciation for the commitment shown by heroes to our community. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishments of heroes in our community by designating Homes for Heroes Day, and because we would like to recognize our city's heroes, both active and retired, firefighters, EMT, law enforcement officers, educators, medical professionals, and our great members of the military, now therefore be it proclaimed by the Mayor and the Town Board of Aldermen, the Town of Franklin, North Carolina, that May 3rd, 2017 is hereby designated as Homes for Heroes Day in the town of Franklin and encourage the community to observe this day with appropriate ceremony. Do I hear a motion that we adopt the proclamation as read? Second? Okay. All in favor? Okay. I'll sign this. Pass it down to the clerk. All right, and somebody gets a copy of this. You get a copy from the clerk. He'll countersign it and then give you a copy, sir. Thank you all very much for what you do. Have another proclamation. This is a proclamation for National Hunger. And, pardon? Oh, I thought somebody said something.
I sneezed, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Everybody say God bless.
If you're going to sneeze, you're going to have to get in line because I think I'm ahead. Oh, I guess I'm getting jumpy. All right. Another proclamation. Whereas for the past several years, the National Coalition for the Homeless and National Student Campaign Against Hunger and Homelessness have sponsored National Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week. And whereas the purpose of the proclamation is to educate the public and advocate with and on behalf of people experiencing homelessness about the many reasons people are hungry and homeless, including the shortage of affordable housing in Macon County for very low-income residents, and to encourage support for homeless assistance service providers, as well as community service opportunities for students and school service organizations. And whereas there are many organizations committed to sheltering, providing supportive services, as well as meals and food supplies to people experiencing homelessness, including the Father's House, Reach, and Making New Beginnings. And whereas the theme of National Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week 2015 is being homeless is not a crime. And whereas the town of Franklin Board of Aldermen recognizes that hunger and homelessness continues to be a serious problem for many individuals and families in Macon County. And whereas the intent of National Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week is consistent with the activities of the Father's House, Reach, and Making New Beginnings. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Town of Franklin Board of Aldermen hereby proclaims November the 12th through the 20th, 2016 as National Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week. Be it further resolved that the Town of Franklin Board of Aldermen encourages all citizens to recognize that many people do not have housing and need support from citizens and private, public, nonprofit service entities. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the proclamation as read. Second. Second. All in favor? Okay. Okay, Lowell, you can get a copy from the town clerk.
Thank you, sir.
You disappeared. There you are.
Thank you very much.
Okay. We have a street closing request from the Franklin Area Chamber of Commerce. Ms. Woodard, Madam Manager, will you present this, please, ma'am?
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Board, and we have our Executive Director from the Franklin Chamber of Commerce, Ms. Linda Harbuck, here as well tonight. Linda, do you want to speak a little bit about the request? I'd be glad to pass those
I
out.
have copies for everyone there. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Board of Aldermen. Appreciate this opportunity to come and work with the town of Franklin to do a Christmas parade again this year. We're not making any drastic changes in the plans for the parade this year, but there is one thing that's a little bit different than is on this request and I'm asking for, and that is that we take the parking on Main Street on both sides away this time and fix that for spectators only with no cars there. Asking that those be blocked off at 7:30 a.m. on that Sunday morning. And we at the Chamber, the Board, and the staff will be going around to all the businesses in town to inform them of that and let them know what's going on if it's approved. We appreciate the town allowing us to use the streets for Christmas parade. And the parade will be Sunday, November the 27th at 3 p.m. The parade will pull out of the parking lot here at Recored at 3 p.m. The parade usually lasts about an hour, maybe a little over an hour, before everything's cleared out at the end and everybody disbands. Again, we request to close Church Street, the Church Street extension, and the town-owned parking lot for the staging area. And we need those to be closed beginning around 1 p.m. until the parade is vacated those streets. We request that Main Street be closed from the top of Town Hill to just beyond Lazy Hacker Brewing Company. The parade will turn left at Porter Street there, go down to Palmer Street and turn left again. So we request that Porter Street also be closed until the parade is passed through at Palmer Street intersection. We request that Palmer Street and East Main be closed from Porter Street to the intersection of Highlands Road until the parade clears the Highlands Road intersection. We don't have a disbanding one area to disband. The people who participate in the parade can either turn on the Highlands Road and find a vacant parking lot or find their members of their riders, families, wherever they need to go. And some go on up to First Assembly of God and City Restaurant area and disband there and let their riders off. We would need police officers to be staged at Harrison Avenue, Church Street intersection. That's probably the busiest and the hardest congested area where the floats and participants turn in behind the courthouse and on Church Street there. A police officer at the Church Street and Island Street intersection, that is to keep traffic from entering in from Main Street into the parade lineup. Police officers and first responders and firefighters to be staged at major intersections along the parade if possible, because in the event of an emergency, we have good amounts of emergency people available along the route, as ambulances would be pretty hard for them to get to an incident. We need a police officer or fire department at Porter and White Street to detour traffic down White Street while the parade's going on, even if we're coming on down Porter to Palmer Street. Request that we block off the spaces, I already mentioned that. That's different this year. We've been blocking just one side of the street and then switching to the other side the following year. This year we'd like to request that both sides be blocked to make the street wider and safer for everyone. And we need traffic cones to block off those parking spaces and some other parking spaces that we use out by your building. And the police department and fire departments always escort us through the entire parade route. So that's the extent of our request. Answer any questions that you have.
Questions from the board? Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. I know that there's a couple of restaurants that serve brunch on Sunday morning. Would that cause a big problem for them not having parking?
We will go speak to them, and it's a possibility that since the parade's not until 3, that if they're only doing brunch, that we could accommodate them until they're
I notice if I come through town on Sunday morning, it's packed.
Yeah, I know we're in
Marcos.
So we will address that.
Any further questions from the board? Okay, Madam Manager, do you have any questions?
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Merry
much.
Christmas.
So I will entertain to adopt the street closing request as presented by the Chamber of Commerce. If I could hear a motion.
Motion.
Okay. Second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay.
Thank you.
Certainly. The next item on the agenda is the street closing for the New Year's Eve Ruby Drop. Mr. Crabtree, sir.
How's everybody doing? This is the third year that we're doing the Ruby Drop. I believe everybody is probably familiar with it. We expect this year to be our biggest year, especially with it being on a Saturday, so it's on a weekend. We expect more people will come out, stay up late, they don't have to be at work the next week, that type of thing. This year we're requesting the street be closed, the entire Main Street. I know we requested that last year. There were some concerns about logistics and things like that. Last year, there were a lot more businesses that opened up for New Year's, and if you were around for the Ruby Drop, you noticed that there were lots of people walking up and down the street all night visiting all of those businesses. We expect that to be the case again. In the letter that you all have there, I listed all the businesses that are going. So I expect that lots of people are going to be traveling up and down the street again. That was one of the major reasons for requesting the entire Main Street. The other reason is we would like to drop the Ruby in the middle of the square just for an aesthetic thing, and also that it would be in the central location of all of the different New Year's parties that are going on. That's essentially what it is. So my request would be for all of Main Street and Iowa Street cross-section at Town Square, pretty much like Pumpkin Fest without where they roll the pumpkins. We will do the same again this year. We'll have some private security hired at our restaurant to make sure that, you know, things stay in line down there. We'll, if the request is granted, we'll do entertainment again like we have. We set the stage up in the street facing our patio.
Any comments or questions from the board?
I will say just from the safety perspective, I was there last year, and there's an exodus of people rushed the street at that point in time, and there was still traffic out. So kind of a safety potential there. We don't close the street, I think.
Okay, any further questions from the board? All right, entertain a motion to adopt the street closing request for New Year's Eve Ruby Drop.
Move we adopt it.
Second. All in favor? Mr. Crabtree, you still will not consider doing it on Greenwich Mean Time, which I can do at 5 o'clock? I just thought I would ask, just checking.
We'll have a private party for you. Thank you.
I'll be asleep. Okay, thank you so much, sir. Budget amendment. Ms. Foster, Town Finance Officer,
Yes, sir.
you're up.
This budget amendment is to appropriate an insurance settlement check that we received for $900, a check that we received for sale of surplus items in the amount of $900, and an incentive program refund check that we received in the amount of $150. And this is to appropriate it into the fire department budget into the appropriate line items.
Any questions of Ms. Foster? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the amendment as presented.
Motion to adopt.
Okay, second? Okay. Ms. Kinsey? Okay, all in favor? Okay. All right. The next item is a Bidwell Street traffic pattern. Mr. Setzer, Town Planner, you're up, sir. You and Madam Manager are going to speak to this.
And I'll be glad to start us off, Mr. Mayor and Board. At the board's request from our retreat in October, I know that this item came up. The board wanted to maybe look at some different traffic options on Bidwell Street. So with that, we brought it back to the board for your formal meeting. Justin, our town planner, Mr. Justin Setzer, is enclosed, and I'm sorry they didn't turn out to be in color, so the maps are not too helpful. But he did go out, and if you want to speak on some of the things you did discover on Bidwell.
Well, the packet was pictures of Bidwell, one looking north and one looking south, where you can see where the median is now, where it doesn't allow traffic to head back south. And there's pictures of those. And then there's an aerial photo showing where the three-way stop is, and then where the do not enter is, and the road's an 18-foot road, same as all the way through. So it was just an aerial photo showing what the current conditions are from two-way to one way.
So basically, what we're doing tonight is, we're looking for a motion to forward this to the planning board. We're not making a decision, in case anybody's wondering, we're not making a decision. We're going to forward it to the planning board for further study. If I could call for a motion to forward this to the planning board for review.
I'd like to make that motion.
Oh, okay. Is there a second?
Unless someone else wanted to. I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, sir. All right, the next item is a discussion on the flashing traffic light pattern in town. Madam Manager.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Board, this was another item that came up during the town board's retreat in October. I believe it was brought to our attention after we were discussing it, that at one time, I believe that the town board had decided to request to NCDOT to place the current traffic light pattern as it is now. I know there's been some concern and questions from our Franklin Police Department, along with some residents, I believe, have called various board members expressing concern that the current traffic light pattern after 11 p.m. goes to a flashing yellow or red. Just discussion from the board, how you guys would like to proceed moving forward or leave it as is. Again, like I said, this was just an item that came up during the retreat.
Okay, so basically what we're asking to do, DOT to go back and just basically do away with the flashing lights after 11 o'clock at night.
If that's what the board would want.
If the board wants to, that's the issue.
What was our thought process? I mean, I was there. Why did that, why are we looking to change that?
I don't know why it was done, but I've had some complaints about how people almost getting hit, and I believe it was an accident involving a police officer. That wouldn't have happened if it had not been flashing lights. People apparently don't know when to stop, when to go, and early in the morning, discuss some dangerous situations.
I'm sorry. What time to what time does it flash?
11 p.m. till I believe right at 5:30 a.m.
I pretty much recall how it came about. I was on the board back in those days. And I think the excuse was nobody's out after 11 o'clock.
Well, I think that's different now.
And that's different now. I think that actually is what it is. But if I recall, Jim, you might correct me on it, but I believe it was because everybody felt like the town was dead at 11 o'clock.
Well, more about just at our retreat the last couple of months ago. I remember we discussed it, but Chief, is it a safety issue or not?
I think it's a safety issue. It would have prevented our officers from being hurt back in May. We've had several other wrecks there at night. People do get confused if they just stop with a flashing red light on them. I think it would improve safety.
If you could tell the same folks to honor a little more time going north to south, trying to cross Main Street and Back Street and those others, then I'd be more likely to me, that's a bigger problem, is trying to go from the Baptist church towards the high school. You get it at Main Street or at Palmer Street, and you're waiting until they're out down there below the hospital. But nonetheless, that's for a different day. The chief thinks it's a traffic issue on the blinking lights, and I need to stand behind it.
Okay, anything else from the board? All right, I'll entertain a motion to allow the town manager to approach the North Carolina Department of Transportation regarding the flashing traffic lights after 11 o'clock. Okay. Do we have a second? Do we have a second? All in favor? Any opposed? We have a letter of support to provide local funding match for the North Carolina Department of Transportation Depot Street sidewalk project. Mr. Stetzer, you're up again, and Madam Manager.
Yeah, in your packet you should see the letter that has been created from DOT, and what it is a letter of support for this is part of the latest NC DOT prioritization projects, and one of the projects that was accepted was a sidewalk project on Depot Street to fill in the gaps of sidewalks on the westbound side of Depot Street and build new sidewalks on the east side of Depot Street, all the way from Main, or I guess it's East Main to Depot, or White Street. And being it's a sidewalk project or pedestrian project, it requires a 20% match. And this letter is showing that the town supports that 20% match. And so DOT could move forward with it on their schedule.
Manager?
And Mr. Mayor and Board, if I may, in the packet, the current estimated cost to NCDOT would be $262,800 for this project. Our 20% match would be $52,560, and the town board could take that from their PAL bill funds.
Any discussion of the board?
I think it's a great opportunity, something that we needed a long time. A lot of kids, mothers and babies walking on that road. It's really dangerous.
Any further discussion from the board? Any questions? Okay, I'll entertain a motion that will allow the town manager to proceed with the Depot Street sidewalk project match.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, second. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, Madam Manager, you're up again on the water treatment plant. I think we have someone else from McGill and Associates, and you and council.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Board, I'd like to present Mr. Keith West, who is here tonight from McGill Associates with an update in regards to the bid process that the town of Franklin just went through in regards to our water treatment plant upgrade and expansion. Mr. West?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We received bids on October 13th for the water treatment plant improvements. Those bids were advertised. We followed the general statutes 143, 129 as far as advertising, getting those bids out to prospective bidders. And those bids were received. We had a total of 3 bids. I think you have a letter in the package that lists those bids, and I'll be glad to read those. The 3 bids were, the parent low bid was from Buchanan and Sons Construction in the amount of $2,835,000. The second bid from Frizzell Construction Company in the amount of $3,073,700. And the final bid from Langston Construction Company in the amount of $3,223,000. Once those bids were received, all the bids were in excess of the engineer's estimate and the funding for the project. This project is being funded through a loan from the Division of Environmental Quality Drinking Water Infrastructure Fund. We met with the manager and the utilities director, discussed our options, discussed the 3 bids, and gave them some information which was taken to the utilities board. And our recommendation after those discussions is to make a recommendation to the board to reject all of the bids and to reevaluate, redesign the project to get it within budget, and to look at some other alternatives as to ways to decrease the amount of the project. Some of the alternatives that we consider is the possibility of the town purchasing the main piece of equipment, the treatment plant equipment, and supplying that to the bidder. And we have also discussed the possibility of pre-qualifying the bidders before the next round of bids so that there's a better comfort level with all the bidders. Our recommendation, I'll note to the board that Division of Water Infrastructure has to approve our request to reject all the bids. That's been submitted to them, and I think that's a formality, but we'll let you know that. So if there's any questions, we'd be glad to entertain questions about our recommendation.
Any questions from the board?
I'm just curious as to where are these companies located?
Buchanan is in Dillsboro, Frizzell is in Tennessee, and Langston is in South Carolina. Frizzell is currently working on a project for McGill Associates to build a new water treatment plant for Fontana Village. They are also working on a project for us at Jefferson City, Tennessee, and in Gatlinburg. Langston recently completed a new raw water intake for the town of Highlands. And Buchanan and Sons has done work for NCDOT on the new rest area in Waynesville, and some treatment plant improvements for the town of Stilton. So we're familiar with all of them. Buchanan's probably done more work around here than the other two, but the statutes, as we interpreted, allowed us, we think it's in the best interest of the town to reject the bids instead of entering into negotiations. We have not entered into any negotiations with the low bidder because we think rejecting the bids is in the best interest of the town. And I think the manager can address that too.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
Board, if I
please.
may, management does agree with McGill's recommendation. Also, just note to the board as well, if the board follows through and does reject these bids, we will still be within our time frame of the original schedule that we handed out a couple months ago, because we did build in some leeway.
Any further questions from the board? Counselor, I believe you have a suggested motion.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the motion would simply be to accept the recommendation of management and the engineer to reject all bids and rebid the project.
All right, I will entertain a motion to that effect that we accept to reject all bids. There we go. You make the motion. Is there a second? Do we have a second? All in favor? Any opposition? All right, the presentation on the Town of Franklin website. Madam Manager and Mr. Setzer, you're back up, sir.
Mr. Mayor and Board, what you have before you tonight is something that we've been working on for probably the past 3 to 4 months in redesigning the Town of Franklin website and making it more user-friendly. Also, there's a lot of services that have been added to the website for residents and or visitors coming to the Franklin area to be able to utilize this site. One thing to note as well, as many of you may have received the water bill for this month, we have utilized the new system, South Data third-party billing, and we are working with the new software provider the town has been pursuing, Encode and or Tyler Technologies, one of the same, to be able to incorporate online bill pay, which will be coming soon, as many of you can note as well on the back of your current utility statement. Justin, would you like to give the board kind of an overview of some of the new features that our website has? And the website is live as of today.
Yeah, so Mr. Tony Angel built our website, and Mr. Angel would have been here tonight, but he had a prior engagement. But this is actually the home page, as you can see, and it's got a picture that scrolls through. But as you scroll down on the home page, the first thing you'll see is here, once we go live with online bill pay, right there will be a link where you can go online and pay the bill, along with any surplus items, and then a town directory to employees. And as you scroll down, there's some more. There's information, basic information about Franklin. There's a welcome from the mayor that Mayor Scott has wrote himself. Some more information about Franklin, public notices, our event calendar, and then some more information on the online bill pay once available. Now this will look a little different. It looks a little different up here just because I'm projecting it to the screen. Generally across the top here, you're going to see all your drop downs. Being it's resized it. It has let's put all the drop downs over here. So you've got a drop down for town government. You've got a mayor, town board, town manager, the clerk's office, along with all the boards, the TDA, planning board, and ABC, and your agendas and your minutes. So all those where you could download all the previous agendas like we have on our old site, along with the budget. Then we have a link to all the town's departments. every department's got a page now. Previously on our site that we had up last week, we had some pages, some people had info on the website, some didn't. There was nothing for finance. There was very little for public works, and water and sewer. So you have the managers. Wait, I'm on the wrong one.
Click on the fourth page.
Of course, police department, fire department, planning, human resources. And I'll click on human resources for one. Chad. See, there's Chad. And so any job opens and downloads will be on there where you can get the job applications, so on, if there's any openings. We've listened, took a lot of stuff in. We've listened to people over the years talk about, well, I moved to Franklin, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to get water, I don't know how to get power, I don't know what to do to start a business. So, close. If I go to, like, here's new to Franklin. So if you move to Franklin, we had all of our town employees, we tasked them for, it's like, what do people, like girls at the window, what, people come to the window, what do they ask for? What do they want to know? So we've got questions on here, who to call to get power, how do you get water and sewer, and then there's links that go to even more details, like if I want to if I'm renting, what do I need? What forms I need to fill out? If I need to change the water to my name, it just needs to be a simple name change. All these forms are on here that can be downloaded, and they're easily found either on a page like this or under, water and sewer pages. They're in multiple locations. Everything from internet to phone service to who to call, J&B disposal for garbage pickup, and so on. So there's a lot of useful information on here, and we get to business, doing business in Franklin. Same thing there for doing business. You've got, there's steps about business registration. They can see it plainly right there that they are required to have a business registration form. And there's more questions as you follow. You notice a lot of them is check with me, see if you apply for zoning. Make sure you're in proper zoning. Check with the tax collector on your business registration. And then even more steps if it's, alcohol. If your business wants alcohol, what to do to get an alcohol permit. There's even information on precious metal that a lot of people don't know that you have to get a permit through the police department. So try to think of everything else so we've got tons of information on here for people to find and be so they're informed. Of course, there's events page. Now, being we've got the eclipse coming up, everybody's really interested in eclipse. Mr. Angel built a special page just for the eclipse for 2017. Everybody's on it. It's logged up. Well, it's coming up. As you see, there's a countdown to the eclipse with the days, hours, minutes, and seconds showing the eclipse that Mr. Angel developed, and more information on. There probably will be more information as details come along through the years, more as we get closer to it. And the last thing I wanted to show before we went off was release the employee directory. We've got an employee directory for every employee for the town of Franklin, their phone number and email, and an extension as well. So some might not have a direct extension, but you know what department they're in, what the job title is, so you can contact them appropriately. There's pages on that one, all of it, you know, between some has been emailing us for bios, so there's a page for every one of you as the mayor, and there's more information on all the department heads as well. Any questions on the website?
Any
or-
questions?
Looks good.
Good work, sir. Tony did it.
Tony did it.
Tony Angel did an outstanding job.
Sure did.
We threw him ideas and he exceeded our ideas, so.
Well, it was something we really needed, and it looks really, really good. Proud of it. Okay, we have another tax release. Madam Manager?
Yes, Mr.
No
Mayor.
motions needed on this,
No,
just
no,
information.
sir, just for information only, Mr. Mayor and Board. What you have is earlier this month, I did a tax release of $9.31 for Daniel C. Development Corporation. This is just for information to let the board know that we did waive that.
All right, any questions? Moving on. Council, I believe you have a resolution regarding the handling of minimal tax overpayment.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. This resolution is meant to take advantage of a tweak in the tax handling laws from section 4 last that permits the tax collector, when there's an overpayment in a minimal amount, which is by the section law is $15 or less, not to go track down the person and give them a refund, but to hold it and apply it to their next tax liability, unless they make a request for the refund, in this case, of course, they have it. It is enacted by resolution of the board and would be effective for the next tax year, so it'll be the 2018 tax year. I'm happy to answer any questions you have about it, but just a simple motion to adopt the resolution as presented would be in order.
Any questions from the board, council? Being none, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the resolution as presented.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. All right, we also have an amendment to the town ordinance regarding the utility deposit and utility billing. Council, you back up, sir.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. This ordinance is a revision to an existing ordinance about utility deposit and billing practices, just to get the ordinance in line with our current practices. It does two things. Will give the town board the flexibility to set the utility deposit rate by the budget ordinance on a yearly basis, to add that sort of flexibility we've been trying to add with all of the utility billing practices, and also to conform to our current practice of bills going out due by the 15th and then cut off eligible after the 21st of each month. That's the purpose of this amendment. Happy to answer any questions you have. But the proper motion would be to adopt the ordinance as presented.
Okay, any questions, council? Okay, entertaining a motion to adopt the ordinance as presented, amendment. I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposition?
No.
I just give you an opportunity there. The next is revisions to the town water and sewer extension policy. Councilor, Madam Manager.
Mr. Mayor, most of you have, I think at some point have reviewed the water and sewer extension policy. This is just sort of the rough guideline that the town follows in regard to when it will permit its water and sewer system to be extended. And that's sort of primary concern outside of the town's limits. This is, with the recession as it was, this has not been as big a focus as it might have been. But I think now is a good time to sort of revisit it, how it works, and just make sure that the board is comfortable with it as a policy. For my part, one of the more recent things that I've looked at it for is, some of you may be aware, and I know Mr. Mayor, you sent me an email about this. It was a recent North Carolina Supreme Court case that dealt with impact fees and how they can be charged, how they may not be. I I reviewed your ordinances and policies in regard to that and find that your practices have been fine. You don't owe any refunds whatsoever on that basis. A couple of the changes that I've proposed in this extension policy are to make it a little more clear that we're steering as well away from that, the unlawful practices as possible. So, for instance, this particular case, what the town in question was doing was building for future impact with maybe possible future customers somewhere down the line, whether you really had an applicant who was trying to tie onto the system or not. So that's why there's a slight change in the definition of fees that you're going to charge to say this is for present use only and to defray the cost that the town incurred just to get up to this point, not for sort of a sinking fund that we're going to use for future expansion. Other than that, I think that we've tried to sort of work in an update of the list of projects that the town has going that are more complicated than just simply tying on a town-owned portion of the system because of interaction with the county extensions that they have facilitated. And it's, I think, more than happy to answer any questions you have about it. And it's up to the board, it's at your pleasure whether to adopt changes, have more discussion, and again, happy to answer any questions you have.
There being none, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the revisions to the town water and sewer extension policy. Presented by council. Do I hear a motion? Okay, a second. All in favor?
Mr. Mayor, before you
Yes.
leave, I
Yes,
just
sir.
want to note the legal sections. I have passed out to each of you a couple more draft ordinances. As I told you last month, we're going to continue the process of updating our ordinances with the goal of getting them as up to date as possible and then moving online with them. So before you are two draft policies, one dealing with extraterritorial jurisdiction for police officers, and that will have a slight revision that Alderman Collins pointed out would be a good idea. And also about fire inspections by the fire chief. Those are just for your information at the moment. We'll bring it back for consideration.
Okay, so both of these ordinances, we'll go over them next month?
Yes.
Okay.
That's all I have.
I have a couple of announcements. The Veterans Day Parade and Ceremony is Friday, November 11th. We're starting at, the step-off for the parade is at 10:30. The Legion, VFW, and the Vietnam veterans, everybody's participating in it. Any veterans, family members, whatever. It's everybody just come on and have a good time. The town hall offices will be closed on November the 11th in observance of Veterans Day. Town hall offices will be closed Thursday, November the 24th, and Friday, November the 25th, for Thanksgiving. In Winter Wonderland, it's going to be Saturday, November the 26th, and Saturday, December the 3rd, from 5 o'clock till 8 p.m. Now, any board member have anything before we adjourn? Okay. If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. I was wondering if y'all were going to adjourn or not. All right, Mr. Gray has made a motion. Is there a second? To adjourn. You guessed. All right. All in favor? Okay.
That's what you're going with?